Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Sports Shorts Daily. Ronnie Rants alongside Tommy Chrysant, TK over at Tremonti's Meat and Seafood. He's there every Wednesday and Friday. Tremonti's Meat and Seafood in Baton Rouge. They got the burgers and fries over there today with only $6.99 over at Tremonti's. And trust me, if you went to a Rougarou game and you had a burger, you know it's a dang good burger. So stop on by there today. I'm in an undisclosed location presented by the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame. We actually have our Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame quarterly board meeting today. We'll be at Desi Vegas in Desi Vegas Steakhouse in Metairie. And I'll get a chance this afternoon, TK, to brave the heat of Metairie and play 9 holes with Mickey Parrington, my old boss at LaBerge Casino. Mickey and I are going to play Metairie Country Club. They had mega renovations 3 years ago or so, and to bring the course back to looking more like its original old self from 100 years ago, which is sort of unique. Usually people are moving towards the future, changing it all up to where it's unrecognizable to the past. But Metairie Country Club actually created its, kind of changed and tweaked its course to sort of replicate the original design 100 years ago. It's pretty neat.
Yeah, that's real cool. I played that course a long time ago, so I'm sure you'll have fun, but it will be hot.
Yeah, only going to play 9. Only going to play 9.
That's probably a good move.
Right. So today and of course, we're presented by LaBerge Casino. LaBerge Casino, our presenting sponsor, will be there on Saturday for Sports Shorts Radio from 10 to noon in the sports book. Looking forward for it to be renamed ESPN Bets. They're going to rebrand that whole thing in a few weeks, and so that'll be fun. All right, so today on Sports Shorts, obviously a lot of football talk. The preseason is ending. We'll have one more week of preseason football. Then next Tuesday is the D-Day for a lot of players, as a lot of players will have their dreams dashed. The final rosters will be set. Even sometimes you think you make a team on a Tuesday and then they just whack you on a Wednesday. The rosters are a moving target. But last week to impress the coaches, the Saints are in the Dome for a home game this weekend against the Titans. But the news that's interesting coming out of Vegas is LSU and USC, which is literally around the corner, literally not this Sunday, but next. The line has moved. LSU still a 6-point favorite or 6.5, depending on where you get it, over USC. But the over-under has gone up. What happened in the last 24 hours?
They went from 62.5 to 63.5. I don't know if somebody made a big bet or if they just did that so people would notice that. But I would guess most of the betting on that game is going to come in the week of the game, and certainly that Friday, Saturday, Sunday would have been a Sunday night kick. So, but it moved a little bit. I always look at it before we do Sports Shorts Daily to see if it moved, and lo and behold, it did. But early call, I like LSU -6. I think I said last week 41-31. My early call score prediction, Tigers winning by 10. So I think you'd have some value there. And, of course, you can do that at the ESPN Bet Sportsbook.
The thing is, Tommy, is that I think everyone that is willing to just make a prediction or have a thought or an opinion or whatever of this game that's coming up, the first game of the year, all think it's going to be high scoring. So I guess it doesn't shock me that the line went up, because I haven't heard one person say, you know what, I'm going to go against the grain. I think it's actually not going to be a high-scoring game. No.
Yeah.
Most people, and look, the reports, and when things start to come out, like, for example, Hunt Palmer put out a little video clip that went viral in the Baton Rouge area where he said he's been at practices. Hunt Palmer of ESPN Radio in Baton Rouge, he's been in a number of practices, and the defense looks awful. That the receivers are running roughshod in the secondary wide open. Well, because of that, things like that, when you hear reports, the offense is so much better than the defense. Boy, LSU's defense doesn't look good. Remember, LSU's defense was epically, record-wise, terrible last year. So if you hear that, you think, okay, well, they're not any better. The offense is doing well. It's going to be high scoring. USC's known for offense. Lincoln Riley's known for offense. There's no reason to believe that it's not going to be a high scoring game, or that your prediction of 70 plus points isn't accurate. Obviously things can happen, but the bottom line is that all indications, all reports, everything we're hearing is that it should be high scoring. So therefore, maybe 63.5 isn't the ceiling on this thing, Tommy. I mean, this thing may even go a little bit higher week of when most of the money comes in and people start really grinding on it and think, you know what, this might be the old school Big 12, Pac-10 type of score.
Yeah, well, I agree with you totally, and I don't think that number's going to go down. If it moves, I think it's going to go up, and it'll be fun to follow that next week as we get closer to kickoff. Kickoff makes the lines move a little bit more the closer you get to that. And this being a Sunday night game, you're going to have people who win money on Saturday or lose money on Saturday, so then they're going to want to, okay, I got a little bit to play with here. Let's go big on this Sunday night game because. And that's going to be great for the LSU brand, the Sunday night game, playing Southern Cal. It's in Vegas. You and Hunter McCann and thousands of others will be there. Everywhere I go, people are like, man, are you going to Vegas? No, I'm not going. But I know a lot of people that don't.
The college football season starts off this weekend in Ireland. And an ACC matchup in Ireland. We'll talk about that in a minute. But I'm fingers crossed, man. I mean, it's kind of – haven't heard anything. Brian Kelly, a couple of months ago, there was talk of LSU playing in Ireland at some point in the future. Brian Kelly's, wants to do it. He's done it a couple times in the past when he was at Notre Dame. As someone who just came back from Ireland in May, I'm all about it. Would have the dream vacation to go play golf in Southern Ireland or Northern Ireland and then have the chance to see LSU play football over there. My God. But that's what's happening this weekend, and in the college football world, we'll get going. Nick Saban's going to be a part of the broadcast team, pre and post game over in Ireland this weekend. What is the line on that game, by the way?
Florida State is I got it right. It was a 10.5-point favorite. Florida State's ranked 10th. Georgia Tech's not ranked. They're expected to be better, but on August the 21st, everybody expects to be better. Okay. But a lot of people are going to watch that game. A, they want to see Florida State, and B, it's going to be college football. We got 20-something weeks now before there's a weekend with no college football. So a lot of people will be checking that game out 11 o'clock Saturday morning. We'll be on the air from the sports books, and we'll be able to give you some live updates. If you're running around, be sure to be listening to Sports Shorts Radio on Saturday because I'm sure that it'll be on the screens at the sports book.
Well, the thing is that remember last year LSU and Florida State did battle in Orlando, and Florida State I don't want to say shocked the world, shocked LSU fans, that's for sure, at how they dominated the Tigers in that second half and just a unbelievable performance. And so Florida State's going to be one of those teams that with a veteran quarterback, a guy who's going to be a Heisman candidate. Who knows what's going to happen, with Florida State this year. They could be one of the surprise teams. I mean, that league is sort of up in the air a little bit.
Well, and do they have a chip on their shoulder with last year, with what happened? The quarterback got hurt, and all of a sudden they tumbled in the rankings a little bit. I don't know if they're playing that card this week, but I'm sure it's on the mind of the coaches, certainly. And, there's a lot of new players, but that'll be a dynamic involved with that too. That if they can win, but we'll see what happens. But I mean, and when we get done with radio, I may hang around the sports book a little while and watch a little more of that game. Maybe they'll have. So we invite folks to come join us.
The thing is that Florida State 100%. I mean, 100% has the right to feel like they got screwed because they did. I mean, if you were Tulane and you went 12-0 or 13-0, okay. All right, I get it, lesser conference, blah, blah, blah. You're at what everyone says the Power 5 conference. You win your conference championship game, so you throw an extra wrinkle in there. You win it, even though they look terrible the last two games, you won it with, out your best quarterback, which a few years ago, we gave Ohio State props for winning with their backup, right?
With their third string guy.
With their third string. But yet we don't give props to Florida State for winning with a backup. And then, of course, you got skins on the wall and an LSU win. It's not like you went out of conference and beat an SEC team that ends up winning 10 games. So if you're Florida State, I don't blame them at all.
Well, and what was bad was the playoff committee changed the narrative. They kept them ranked the first week they didn't have the starting quarterback. Then they dropped them and said it's because they didn't have the quarterback. Well, why didn't you do that 2 weeks ago? So that was you could blow a hole through the philosophy of or the activities of the committee with that. And I'm sure Seminole fans that's going to stick in their craw for a while, because fans don't forget. Players, they view it a little differently. Coaches are worried about the next play, the next game, but the fans of Florida State will be, that won't go away for a while. Just like many years ago when Auburn went undefeated and didn't get into playoff day, those fans still talking about that over there on the plains. So,
yeah, no, and Florida State has 100% of a gripe. They deserve it. And yeah, that was a situation where the committee was, quite frankly, chicken shit. They were thinking, okay, if we can buy another week, they'll lose next week because they have the backup quarterback. They'll lose. And when they didn't lose, it's like, now we got some tough decisions to make. And they cowered. They went on the side of, we're going to go towards the big brands. We're going to go towards the bigger conferences. We're going to appease them, as opposed to probably doing the right thing. It's the age-old debate. Unless it's clear, unless you put it in black and white, and you make clear what the objective is, to award the best team, the team that had the best year. Is it full body of work from September 1 all the way to December whatever when you decide? Or is it the best team on December 1? Are we ranking the teams based on this week, this is who the best teams are? Or is it, hey, for 3.5 months, this was the second or third best team in the country, regardless of what's happened with their injuries? I mean, I don't know. It's not clear on how the committee handles that based on the past and the present, how they have flip-flopped.
I think it should be the complete body of work, but then, you make a case if somebody does something spectacular down the road, the final 2 or 3 games, big win on the road, win a conference title. But, and again, and they're not, it's subjective, but they can't totally define it. That's what that's what helps Sports Shorts Daily and Sports Shorts Radio go round and round. It gives everybody fuel to talk about. Of course, social media goes nuts. We know that, but so it'll be interesting to see, because there's going to be a 13th and 14th team this year that doesn't get in the playoff. That's going to be, raising Cain, just like, Florida State rightfully did last year, and other teams have done it over the years. But that's just going to be the way it goes,
The thing is that it's the old debate of, okay, if you lose your first game of the year or your last game of the year and you only have one loss, why is it that we value, you lost your first game of the year and look how much better you got, versus you had some amazing season, you're 12-0, then you lose your last game and you're 12-1. But if you had lost it first and went 12-1, we look at you completely differently. We look at you like just literally completely different. And I don't know that that's right. Make sure you tune in on this Saturday morning from 10 to noon. We'll be debating all that stuff. But this Saturday, 11 a.m. college football kicks off. It begins. You can get your bets in. And if I were a betting man this weekend, I would take Florida State over Georgia Tech lay the points. NFL football right around the corner. And the New Orleans Saints, do they lay an egg with their loss to the 49ers? Is that how you would judge the 16-10 defeat? What? And then now they're favored at home against the Titans, whatever that's worth, last preseason game. But they're also favored at home by 4.5 to Carolina, opening game of the year.
Yeah, they're 4.5. I caught a line on that opening game, which is not until September 8th, which is the Sunday after when LSU plays. So there'll be a little gap, major roster cuts league-wide. So the Saints got Kamara back. He was at practice. They practiced at Tulane yesterday in front of local fans, and that's the first time they got to see him because of the trip to California. And I understand it was very crowded out there. So we'll see what goes on with the Saints. And the kicker situation is becoming very interesting. Smythe, the young guy, kicked a 66-yard field goal at practice. Now, that's practice. It's different. I get that. However, I think he's going to beat Groupie out. And I've read some roster projections for the Saints, and you can find them all online for all the guys that are covering the Saints on a regular basis. But we could have a change there. But, there's still quarter about who's the backup quarterback. Does that really matter? Well, yeah, because you don't know that Carr's going to make it for 17 games, take every snap. I doubt that happens. NFL history says that won't happen. But so there's a lot of storylines with the Saints, and they're going to do this preseason thing Sunday in the Dome. Keep in mind that the Super Bowl's in New Orleans next February, so it'll be exciting. A lot of changes to the Dome. You were telling me like 70% of it was done last year. There's some more things this year. So when fans go to the Dome, be it this Sunday or the home opener against the Panthers, there'll be a lot of new wrinkles.
Tommy, when the next time you go to the Dome and you get to go explore down in like the plaza level, your lower level concourse, you've obviously been going to the Dome since it opened in the mid 70s. And you've seen the tweaks and the changes and the renovations that have taken place over the years. The big thing that the Dome has done now, which is sort of a staple of all modern stadiums, is they've made the concourses wider and bigger and more open and more grand. It used to be when you walked around the Dome, it was just so tight, the where you walked between the seats and the bathrooms and all that. I mean, you have to excuse me, walking by people. And not to say you don't have some of that still, but it's just all the concourses. There's a lot more room. The concession situations are done smarter. There's a couple of big long bars where that are like in the middle of the concourse where people can be at the bar and it's open and you can see the field, and it's just what you would think a 2024 stadium looks like. They've made some tweaks, and keep in mind this is a building that opened in 1975, so it's going to be 50 years old by the time the Super Bowl is played there. I mean, there's not many 50-year-old stadiums around. I mean, Kansas City, the Chiefs have a 50-year-old stadium. If I started thinking about it,
Green
Bay,
Bay.
Beau Field, and the Dome. I think those are the three oldest. And I don't know. I'm trying to think. Yeah, I'm quickly kind of going around the map. Yeah, those are the only ones that are around that are 50 years or older. And of course, obviously, they've all gone through major renovations, but there's no conversation right now about tearing down Lambeau. There's no conversation for tearing down Arrowhead, and there's no conversation or even the capability of tearing down the Dome. I mean, if New Orleans, if the Saints were ever to, or if the NFL or whatever would have happened and the Dome just wasn't viable anymore, like, hey, if you want to keep the NFL, you're going to have to build a new stadium. And I don't think the state of Louisiana could, Tommy. I don't really think they could. I mean, because first off, you'd have to have a retractable roof type stadium. Okay. You wouldn't do a dome, but you would definitely do a retractable roof. One, where would it be? You'd have to be way out in the suburbs somewhere. And I don't think the state of Louisiana, because of course the New Orleans Saints aren't going to spend $4 billion or $3 billion or whatever it's going to take to build a new stadium. So they're going to ask for public-private funds. And I don't think the state of Louisiana is in a position to be able to say, yeah, here's $2 billion, go build a stadium.
Well, like you said, been around since the Dome came to be. And a handful of times over the years, they'll talk about building a new stadium in LaPlace or St. Charles Parish. There was talk about, Tangipahoa Whole Parish. There's a lot of land up there in the Kentwood area, St. Tammany Parish. But there's really no place to put it that becomes easily accessible, airport and, interstate. So I guess the logical place would be St. Charles Parish, LaPlace, somewhere in that area. But then if you get below I-10, you got the issues with hurricanes and storm damage or whatever that could apply. So I think the Dome's going to be there another 50 years. They'll keep doing some renovations or whatever as they go forward, simply because you can't do like some of the other cities have done and go, 10, 12, 14, 15, 20 miles away. Like in Miami, the Miami Dolphins don't play real close to Miami. Okay? It's like an hour away. But you can't do that in, New Orleans. They're not going to put it in Baton Rouge. That's not happening. So, I mean, it's either going to be in New Orleans or, I hope it doesn't happen, or the NFL wouldn't be in the city.
Yeah, I think they're just going to continue to put lipstick on a pig and just continue to to make sure it's safe and make sure it's as good as it possibly can be with renovations for years and years to come. And look, the thing that makes New Orleans so great for the NFL for Super Bowls, which they're about to have their 11th, I believe, Super Bowl. The thing about it for the Super Bowls and Sugar Bowls and all the big events and Final Fours and all that is because of its proximity, because it's in downtown New Orleans, and literally you can walk, although you don't want to, especially in the heat, you can walk from the French Quarter to the Dome, from the Dome to your hotel in the warehouse district or downtown or whatever, or it's a short ride, and that's why it works. That's what makes New Orleans so great and the Dome so great, is where it is. If you all of a sudden said, hey, we could have the most state-of-the-art indoor-outdoor facility in the world, but it's got to be in Hammond, that's not the same thing, and it wouldn't draw the same. It wouldn't be as much of a catch to go to the Super Bowl because to play it in Hammond or the Sugar Bowl or whatever, or these big venues or the concerts or whatever. If it was as fabulous as it could be in Covington, it wouldn't be the same. So
I agree completely. I agree.
Here to stay. All right, what else we got going on in the world of sports to talk about?
Second leg of the Tour Championship golf. They'll be out in Colorado, back into Atlanta next week for the Tour Championship. Hey, don't forget all the high school football scrimmages. A lot of scrimmages this week, statewide, all classifications. I always like to mention the sport of high school football. Major League Baseball, Astros with a 5-game lead in the West. 2 months ago, they were 10 games out. Things can happen. Aaron Nola throws tonight for the Phillies. Phillies have a 6-game lead in their division. Nola's 11-6 with a 3.45 ERA. And he'll take the bump tonight for Philadelphia. Yeah, so we got Nola on the bump. He's 11-6 with a 3.45 ERA, which is very good numbers for Aaron Nola. Right. He wasn't an All-Star this year. Come on.
When is skiing scheduled to start again?
I think tomorrow night. I'd have to double check that. Now, Ronnie, you asked me a question Monday. Did I want to win a gold medal?
Yeah, let's get
to
that.
Read a concert star, play on the stage in front of 100,000. What was the other one to get the game-winning hit?
So I saw this the other day, and it got me to thinking, would you rather win a gold medal at the Olympics, an individual gold medal at the Olympics? Would you rather hit the game-winning home run, bottom of the ninth, 7th inning of the World Series? Would you rather hit a 3-point shot at the buzzer to win the 7th game of the NBA Finals? Or would you rather be on stage with your favorite band for a 2-hour concert as a member of the band, 2-hour concert in front of 100,000 people and, I don't know, the Coliseum in LA or something like that?
Man, as you know, I love music. But, my genre, I get into it. And many of the time the TV's off and I just listen to music. But I don't know, man. I got to think winning a gold medal, it would be the ultimate, Now, I don't think the Olympics means to me what it did many years ago. And you and I know Brett Bryan from Mandeville went to Southeastern, was in the weightlifting competition at the Olympics. We know many a baseball player that played in the Olympics. I know a few, Mondo Duplantis. I know his family more than I know Mondo. So I don't know. It would be really close, but I think that gold medal would be, that you were one of the best in the world. But then is the Olympics really amateur anymore? No, it's not. So I don't know. That's close when, I don't think Ronnie, when I was a kid, you don't know this about me. When I was a kid, I wanted to pitch in Yankee Stadium. I'm talking about the old Yankee Stadium. I wanted to be able to say I pitched in Yankee Stadium. Okay, I didn't come close. That's fine. But that was always like a dream, even like 12 years old, and getting but they didn't have travel ball then, but all the baseball that I played. I figured if I could pitch in Yankee Stadium, I would knock the catcher over. I would throw it so hard that it would just make it fall over, But of course, never came close, and that never happened, never gonna happen. But man, I don't know. I don't know if maybe saving the Game 7. You and I both being former pitchers, saving Game 7 in a World Series. I might put that ahead of the gold medal. I'm throwing the ninth, right? And we got a 1-run lead, Game 7. I'm throwing the ninth. Go 3 up, 3 down, maybe a punch out looking to end it. I might rather that than a gold medal.
So here's
What you think? Now I'm throwing it back at you. Now, come on now.
The talk about like the concentration. That's probably an adrenaline rush that's unmatched even by those other three things. You know, to perform, say you're the lead singer of the Eagles and you're playing in front of 100,000 people at a you know, and you walk out on stage and you do an unbelievable set for 2 hours. I mean, what you felt for those 2 hours, that juice, that adrenaline is, and everybody's singing it back to you. And
all right, Ronnie jumped away for a second. We'll get him back. He'll finish that. Go ahead, Ronnie.
am I back here? Am I back here?
Yeah, you are. Yeah.
So I'm saying that in that moment, that adrenaline rush, that juice is probably greater than even everything else. But and the gold medal is with you the rest of your life. So not only do you get the juice and the satisfaction of you worked your entire life to achieve this goal, you're literally the greatest in the world at that moment to do it. And the stars and stripes, we know no matter, everyone cries, right? We know that moment. We know what it means to your family and your friends. It's not just you. You're sharing in this with the world. I mean, think about Mondo Duplantis. He won a gold medal for Sweden, and the joy that we got, just and all the thousands of people in South Louisiana that have any sort of tie to him, the pride and the joy that they got, not to mention a whole country across the pond. But the gold medal still carries the weight, even though it's not 1984. It's not the same as it was in 88 or 92, where the world stopped and everybody watched the Olympics for 2 weeks and there was nothing else, and that's all you talked about. It's different now. But when you put that gold medal around your neck, you wear that 20 years from now, they introduce you as a gold medal winner. It still matters. That still means something. If somebody walked in to go speak to your organization and they won a gold medal in 1988 in the 200-meter dash, that's a wow. Let me take a picture with you. Tell me the story. Who are you? Like that's still meaningful decades later, and maybe even more decades later. So I think that the juice you get in that moment, you can't compete with 100,000 people in a concert type of venue. But the lifetime of being a gold medal winner, the greatest to do it, carries with you even more cachet than being an NBA champion or a World Series champion.
Well, Ronnie, like you, I've done a lot of really great, cool interviews in my sportscasting career. And I'm going to go in 1988, I interviewed Brett Bryant, who was from Mandeville. Brett was running back and kick returner for Southeastern football. Brett got into that Gale Hatch weightlifting stuff, and he competed in Seoul, Korea in the Olympics. And this is in 88 when we didn't have the technology we have now. I interviewed Brett live on the radio right before he walked into the opening ceremony on the old WARB in Covington, Louisiana. Interviewed Brett as he was about to go into the opening ceremony of the Olympics in Seoul, Korea in 1988. And I was thinking, how cool is that? Because back now we can interview somebody in Seoul, Korea. We put them on Sports Shorts Daily. But back then, for us to pull that off, that was pretty cool. And again, I knew Brett from college very well. I hadn't talked to him in a minute, but to me, that was pretty cool. And that had an Olympic flavor to it, not just, the many people you and I have interviewed over the years that didn't have an Olympic flavor.
Yeah. Well, I look at it like this. If Mondo Duplantis walked down the road and right now with those 2 gold medals on his neck, or Ryan Terrio walked down the road with his 2 World Series rings, you know what I mean? Like, it's just a different thing. It's a different thing,
Well, I think in those 2 examples, second place is not bad.
No, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, all of them are great. I mean,
yeah, like, okay, I'm sorry. I only got 2 World Series rings,
But there's only United States this year only had 38 or 39 gold medalists. There's only 39 people. So that's pretty awesome. 39 people. There's 39 gold medals. Obviously, basketball. You got multiple people in it, but pretty awesome. Coaches do not get gold medals, by the way. Only players. So, like I
didn't know that.
Yeah. So the NBA, the coaches for the teams and all do not get gold medals. Only the players. All right, TK, tell us about Tremonti's as we get out of here.
The The big special today, the world famous Tremonti's Burger, the official burger of the Baton Rouge Rougarou. You can get it to go. You can eat it here. $6.99 for burger and fries. It's every Wednesday special, not just today. You need to check it out, and then you can load up on everything you need for the weekend, getting ready for college football, tailgating, all that good stuff. Tremonti's Meat and Seafood on Jefferson Highway in Baton Rouge. You need to stop by and check them out. As we always say, please like and share this show. That helps everybody and everything involved. It will do us a big favor if you can like and share this show. We appreciate that very much. On behalf of everybody here at Tremonti's, on behalf of Ronnie Rants, I'm Tommy Christ-Sam. We'll be back Friday morning, 9 a.m. with another episode of Sports Shorts Daily. Have a great day, everyone.